Welcome, everyone, to Politics Prose, the podcast where we dive deep into conversations that matter, connecting the dots between community, economics, and empowerment. I'm your host, Gail Dudley, also known as the Audacious Advocate, and today's episode is one you don't want to miss. We're talking about something that is often overlooked but has the power to transform lives: investing in option trading. But not just in theory, we're unpacking how these financial tools can be game changers for Black, Brown, and marginalized communities. And yes, even for young children, learning how to build generational wealth early. Our topic today is Trading While Black, Building Wealth, Breaking Barriers. Joining me today is Els. Els, born and raised in Harlem, New York, is a dedicated commercial HVAC engineer with a keen interest in finance. Over the past year, he has embraced the world of stock options, day trading, striving to enhance his financial literacy and entrepreneurial skills. With a passion for continuous learning and self-improvement, Els is committed to mastering new skill sets that empower him in both his engineering career and trading endeavors. Additionally, he is my trading mentor, yes you are, who is passionate about demystifying the world of investing. So whether you're a seasoned trader, a curious beginner, or a parent wondering how to teach your kids about money, this conversation is for you. So let's jump in. Welcome, Els, to the show of Politics Prose.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm humbled to be here.
I'm so happy you're here. You are really my mentor. You may not know that, but you are. So, so you're just gonna take that title. You're just gonna take that title. So I want to start off today about community and investing impact. So now that I've set the stage, giving all the background on what we're going to talk about today, I really want to talk about the bigger picture, which is community impact. It's not just about individual wealth. It's about investing, how investing can uplift entire communities and neighborhoods, and how we can rewrite economic narratives. So, Els, how do you see investing as a tool for community empowerment as a whole and not just for one individual person?
Well, I mean, I like to think that investing as a whole for a community was exemplified by the actions of the late great entertainer Nipsey Hussle. Uh,
Oh,
he
wow.
he showed everyone the power of investing, and he particularly invested in his own neighborhood. He literally took uh, open area in his neighborhood as an opportunity to buy up all of the real estate and stores in that neighborhood, and then empower the community by giving people jobs and just uplifting his community by constantly pouring back into them. So just the investment space in general and building community wealth is the possibilities are limitless.
Wow, I never knew that about him. Never, ever.
Unfortunately, the area where he his untimely demise came was right in the area where he bought everything, that he owned that entire lot pretty much.
Wow.
So
Okay.
his clothing, he was literally right in front of his clothing store. His clothing store, they owned that pretty much that whole lot. So he just invested in his neighborhood, and he was empowering the people in his neighborhood, just showing them firsthand what you could do.
Wow. Okay, I'm glad we're gonna have to unpack that somewhere, but hold on before we get there. So building up the whole, buying up the whole block, building, investing. So where would you say investing, talking about stock investment and option trading, where would those tools of economic empowerment fit into that? Or do
Well,
you see them as two different things, especially when we're talking about marginalized communities?
well, I mean, stock options and investing, I think, go hand in hand. Pretty much, the companies that you trade stock options for are very much the same companies that you could invest in. These are everything from small companies to Fortune 500 companies. Now, you're going to be dealing with larger companies when you're talking about stock options. But as far as the investments, you can definitely invest in anything from a startup company all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. So, and with regards to stock options, one of the great things about options trading is it allows you to start at a very low level. You don't need tons of money to get started with options trading. There are very inexpensive options that people can begin trading with, that they can build portfolios from, $100 all the way up to, limitless amounts of money. So the
So when
opportunity,
you say, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm just saying that the opportunity is there. Options trading provides the opportunity for anyone who wanted to get started in it to start with not so much money and build a portfolio that can amass tons of wealth.
All right. So on one hand, I'm hearing about buying up property within neighborhoods. So that's one form of investment. Then
Right.
we are talking about stock options, such as companies that you can buy in for the long term. And
Hmm.
then we have option trading, which doesn't really take that much money. I think you said $100 to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, something
So,
small as that.
so is that, then I want you to unpack that a little bit when we're talking about options. Is that more like renting the option or renting the stock, or are we buying that stock? Can you dive into that a little bit?
Well, with regards to options trading is a form of trading that makes it so that you don't actually have to buy the stock. You have an option to purchase the stock at a set price if you so choose before the expiration date of the particular contract that you buy. So
Okay.
it is an option to purchase, at a particular price. So you don't necessarily have to buy or own the stock to trade these options and make money off of these particular assets.
Okay. So why do you think, and I hear this a lot because I'm in the game too. You're my mentor. But why is it that black and brown people, especially in marginalized communities, feel that this is a scam when it's happening every day on Wall Street, at the New York Stock Exchange, but people are afraid to do it, thinking that it's a scam? Can you dig into that, please? Because we need to uncover the truth so that our people in our communities can start doing this more.
Sure. I think that fear factor relates to, I think, one of the biggest fears of all, and that is fear of the unknown. I think, as you said, in marginalized communities, where not only access to resources have been marginalized, but one of the greatest resources that has been marginalized is information. Um, and when you lack the information on something, it's very natural to be afraid of it. So I could understand people being afraid of something like options trading, because I think one of the things that is happening nowadays is we're seeing a lot of people uh, talk about options trading and just stock trading in general on social media. Social media has become one of the newest and biggest mediums of news information, if you will.
Yeah.
And because people are seeing so much about options trading and different types of stock trading, uh, one of the things that's happening in this community, in the trading and stock community, is you're getting a lot of people who promote lifestyles to you, and they're promoting these luxury lifestyles. And when they do that, when they promote the lifestyle ahead of the learning and ahead of the information, you have what gets created is a get rich quick mentality. And
Yeah.
when you have get rich quick anything, people will tend to think it's a scam, because the saying goes, if it's too good to be true, then it probably is.
Yeah.
Um, and when you
Yeah.
see people make large sums of money very, very quickly, with very limited resources or very limited input. In other words, they didn't take years to build a foundation to make this kind of money. Most people do
Yeah.
think those kinds of things are a scam because, again, they just seem too good to be true. Um, and you can make a lot of money very, very quickly in options trading. But I mean, one of the one of the things that people overlook when they promote a get rich quick mentality is you can also lose a lot of money very quickly. So I mean,
don't I know it?
don't we all? And that's one of the things that going forward, I'm going to be focusing on kind of breaking down, because I want to promote more of the learning ahead of the lifestyle. I don't want to promote anything that's related to a lifestyle that you can gain from this. If you gain the consistency to make a pretty good living off of stock trading, then great. Then you create whatever lifestyle you see fit. But I'm not here to sell a lifestyle or promote a lifestyle to anyone. I want to promote education, learning, and information. Information, I think, is probably one of the biggest things that it has been hidden from communities of underprivileged people.
Yeah, I so agree. I know you and I talked about this a little bit earlier, but I see so many people on pretty much Instagram or TikTok, and it's all about the Range Rovers or the Mercedes Benz or the G Wagons or the $1 million homes. Well, number one, we don't know if they really own those things anyway, or if they're just promoting this stuff and people are buying into this and paying these crazy amounts for classes that may not lead to anything. But the truth is, and if I can tell our business for a moment, in one of the groups, and I won't name the group, but in one of the groups that we're in, like SPX was a thing. It was like, how much are we gonna make on SPX? And it's fun, but if you go the other way, you lose in this. It's like you're gonna lose everything you put in there. So there's a fun factor to it. But at some point, we get serious.
Yeah.
And so it's like, take the 10% or take the 20% or take whatever and be that professional trader and not a gambler. And I'm so afraid so many people are looking at this as a get rich quick, and they're gambling instead of actually making this their profession. So with that being said, what systemic barriers do you foresee when it comes to financial literacy, and how can we break them down, especially with you wanting to focus on the educational component? What are some of these systemic barriers that people face when it comes to financial literacy, and how can we break those down so that we're empowering them with knowledge and with wisdom, and eventually they'll have wealth behind it? So speak to that if you don't mind.
Well, I think one of the first things that we have to do as a community, in terms of breaking down systemic barriers, is what we're doing now. Is have these conversations. We have to talk about it, and we have to take advantage, begin to change the mindset. Everything starts with, in my opinion, with a mindset, and these conversations are vital, in my opinion, because I feel like they spark thought, and thought is what you need to change mindsets. You have to changing your mindset. You have to see yourself as able and capable of achieving all these things. So one of the things that I think this conversation is imperative. We have to begin having these conversations as a people. We cannot be afraid of things that we've been left out, or the fact that we've been, we've been handicapped, and that we're starting maybe from behind. We have to have these conversations, and we have to now get in the game. I think it's. I mean, I just want to touch on this for 1 second. Mindset is so important, because here's an example.
Don't talk about me.
I was listening to a conversation with from an NBA player, and this NBA player, he basically said, he started to make his comment by saying, I'm not counting anyone's money. He said, but I'm worth $100 million. This person's worth 200 million. This person's worth 50 million. This person's worth another 200, 300 million, whatever it may be. He said, yet we don't have our own practice facilities. This is how we make all this money. He said, when we go to practice and we go to these practices and we just want to play, we go to team facilities and We rent out gyms and things like that. We don't have our own practice facility, and this is our craft. And we're talking hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars that we collectively have. We can afford it. We have the money 10 times over. He said, but the reason we don't have our practice facility of our own is because of mindset. We don't have the mindset to have our own. So I thought that was very interesting because here you're talking about people who are immensely successful, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the mindset that they lack in that area is a hindrance in some sort of way. And so that's just to speak to how important it is to have the mindset to put things in motion. And I think one of the biggest things that we face is a lack of mindset because we've been marginalized for so long. I mean, there's reasons behind everything, but I think in this day and age, we have access now. We have access just with social media, just with the power of the internet. We have access to everything. The power of a smartphone, just something that most people have. You know, you literally have the world in your hands, at your fingertips. You know, take you and I, for example. You're all the way in Columbus. I'm here in New York, and we connected just on a smartphone. You know what I mean? Initially, and here we are today. You know, basically going on a year later, and we're, you know, worlds away from where we began. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that power that you have in your hand, take advantage of it. But I believe it starts with a mindset. I don't think they can marginalize us but so much anymore. I mean, they still have their systemic ways in place, the powers that be. I mean, but
Yeah.
we also have a lot of things that we can use to our advantage to empower us. We have free resources that are out there. We have, like I said, the internet that's out there where you can literally look up and find anything in the world that you want. So it starts with the thought. You know, these conversations spark thoughts, and you know, one thing I want to say is start. Doesn't matter what, just start.
True. That's
You
true.
know,
That's powerful right there.
yeah, just
It,
start.
yeah. I'm sitting here listening to you, thinking about when you said a year. It's like, wow, it's really been a year. It's like it really has been a year, and
Yeah,
it's just interesting because you know I'm that news buff, and I love the way that we work with each other because I'm throwing you news, and you're like, let's look at levels, let's look at these things, and then I thought you were going with the mindset, the emotional mindset of doing trading. I was like, don't talk about me, but.
itself is an entire segment. I mean, the psychology of trading.
It's like that's some serious stuff. You
That is
cannot get, yeah, you gotta, yeah, yeah. But
psychology.
but but I love the fact that we work together. But in our communities, do you find that it's difficult to work with each other because we don't want to listen, or we're jealous, or we're envious, or whatever the isms that come with that. But again, I like the way we connected because it was like, okay, tell me about this. What do you think about this? And you've been very helpful to where I'm thinking, okay, I didn't connect those dots, but I have the research information, but you have the actual tools and concepts and algorithms and everything that goes with the chart. So,
Mhm.
how do we even break those barriers within the community to start the educational piece when you're like, okay, let's just stay in our Hondas and we'll get to the BMWs. Like, it's okay. And the other thing is, should that be the goal at first, or should the goal be, I just want to learn this so that I can help my community?
Okay.
I know I asked you like three
Oh,
questions in
no,
one, but that's how I roll.
it's really great. So here's a piece of information in a book I read. A lot of it's a pretty well known book. It's called Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert
Yeah,
Kiyosaki. A lot of people.
I got that book somewhere in my office.
One of the things he says in that book is most people are one skill away from exponentially changing their earning potential. Um,
One skill away.
one skill away. So wherever you are in life, there is an opportunity for you to just learn a new skill on top of whatever you are doing to create your earning potential. And that new skill could exponentially change your earning potential. So,
Yeah.
with regards to your question, in terms of some of the things we face as a people, in terms of how we clash at times, um, I would say start with like minded people. I mean, the easiest way to get yourself going with anything is to find a like-minded person who wants to, who has similar interests. In other words, if you want to accomplish something, if you want to do something, put yourself around it. Surround yourself with it as often as you can. And if you surround yourself with that thing, you will become that thing. People often say you become what you're around. What
Yeah.
you surround yourself with. So that's why, a lot of times they say, if you show me your friends, I can show you who you are. What
Yeah.
you surround yourself with, what you spend your time with, what you lend your mind to is what you become. So
Right.
if
That's
you're
good.
looking to do something, if you're looking to, step outside of a box and begin some sort of movement, begin some sort of new endeavor, put yourself around it. Put yourself around people who are thinking about that same thing, who want to be in that same environment and grow together.
I like that. Um, all right, I gotta pick that apart just a little bit. Because I do love it. Um, grow together. What does that look like? Even when it's into like I've been in groups that people say, well, let's go and let's invest into our home, let's renovate the home, flip it and sell it, whatever. But we never really get anywhere with it. So how do we grow together? What does that look like? There's been groups that people will say, let's pull our funds together and let's give to XYZ cause. And that doesn't happen. So what can you dive into that a little bit more? How do we grow together? Then, oh, I'm sorry, I got to go here too. Then we have people who are got to go into politics. They're on two separate sides of the aisle, so they just can't get together. They don't even like each other anymore these days. So how do we grow together? Or as we've seen in uh, South Fulton, Georgia, Atlanta, the mayor. That's all on the news everywhere, and people are just fighting each other. Well, how do we grow together? So, what does that look like, and can it be done? Can men and women work together
Yeah.
without there being a relationship? Because so many people then try to say no, we're just friends, we're just doing what we're doing. So, how do we grow together?
Well,
Um, I
well,
know it's going to get messy, but I want to hear this because I want to. I love where you're going with this. I know you've talked about. I hope I'm not saying it something you don't want me to say. If so, we can edit it out. But helping the young boys, black boys in the community, and pulling that together. How do you navigate that with other people who think that they're better at it, but they're really horrible with it, and you really have the mind to do it? So how do you two grow together, or how does a group of people grow together?
well, it's like any corporation. You're going to start with a particular circle of who you think is like-minded people, who you feel is aligned with your interests and your goals. And through the course of time, that circle will change. Um, those 10 people you start something with may not be the 10 people you end up with.
Yeah.
Um, you're going to have to go through the trials and tribulations of finding who you can grow with. You know what I mean? Absolutely, men and women can work together. Every successful corporation in this country and probably anywhere else in the world is comprised of men and women. I don't know of any successful entities or companies that are just all male or all female, or
Yeah.
I don't know any like that. So I think
I
there's,
don't either.
yeah. So I think men and women absolutely can work together. Um, but I think you know uh, I saw something where a very successful entrepreneur and salesman was asked a question. How are you so successful with your business and being an entrepreneur and selling things, and there's salesmanship in everything. Um, and one of the things he said, which I thought was, it's an understated thing, but it's so true. And when you really dive into it and let it sink in your mind, it's like it's a light bulb, but it's so simple. Sell to people who want to be sold to.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
That's where
Yeah.
you begin. You begin selling to people who want to be sold to. It is so
Yeah.
much easier to sell to someone who wants to be sold to than to try to crack the shell of someone who is not trying to hear what you're talking about.
Yeah. That's deep. Which leads me to the question of more and more, as you mentioned on social media, we're seeing it. This is about the lifestyle. But I do believe there's a population of people who are really focused on education. I'm so glad you're taking the lead on this. Um, how do we break barriers within Black and Brown communities that people are willing to hear from an Ells, um, to follow what it is that you're implementing, to encourage people? Now, and for all the listeners, I have no problem sharing this. It was actually Ells who encouraged me to stay in it when I was like, I'm done with this. But more and more, just the encouragement, um, reminding me why I was in it in the first place, and now I'm constantly growing in it. But how do people just take a step back and give you the opportunity to break some of these barriers, whether they're the myths of trading, the fear of option trading, the thought of I don't have enough money to invest or to build within the community or to enter option trading? How do we build that wealth and break barriers, especially while being Black?
Show them. Show them better than you can tell them. Show them
Say more. Say more.
show them what can happen with the power of something. You have to lead by example with that. Show them what's possible with options trading. And like I said, my interest is in empowering people through giving them information, through showing.
But okay, so I hear that, but for so many people, the term option trading feels like it's only reserved for Wall Street. I mean, people have that mindset, like I can't do this, or they're stuck on um, the initial CPI, not knowing what it is. What we know is Consumer Price Index, or they're worried about the Farm Report, or the Federal Reserve, or this, that, and the other, and they're thinking that it's only for the Wall Street elites.
Right.
So how do we even not we, how are you going to unpack that for people so that they are not intimidated by it?
Well,
We're talking everyday people, and we're saying marginalized communities, but we can just say any community, really.
sure.
Talk
One
about
of
that.
the things is that when it comes to the stock market is comprised of companies from pretty much every sector of
Yeah.
product or service that's out there. So one of the things that people can do to break down some of the fear factor is start with things that you're interested in.
Like
Looking
Starbucks?
like Starbucks. That's actually a great example. People can start with things that they're interested in. If you're interested in a particular thing, or you have a particular uh, passion for something, or this may be a field of expertise for you, something you just know more than the average person about, you can start there. Guarantee you, there is a company that is publicly traded that is in that stock market that you just may have a wealth of information on because you just know about that particular thing. You may know a lot about coffee. You may, you may work at Starbucks. One of the people that is in, the group, he's a Starbucks employee. So
He's a Starbucks employee. He
and
is.
he just happened to know a lot about Starbucks, and he definitely made money off of their earnings. So
Yeah.
you can always start with things that you are familiar with, if so that it's not so intimidating.
It's funny because I'm sitting here laughing because I like a particular ticker, and you hate me liking that particular ticker. You're like, Gail, it's just too far. It's not a tight margin there. Why are you doing this? But I absolutely love that ticker. So, but I'm listening to you. I'm chuckling because I was like, I thought you told me I couldn't do that. I love that ticker.
Well, well, listen. If you love it, then you just have to learn. Then you have to learn it. Then you
I
just
have
got
to learn to trade it.
right. You spend time learning that company, get to know that company inside and out, understand what makes that company work, what's to its benefit, what's to its detriment, and understand how it moves on a day-to-day basis. Watch it, study it every day. And at some point you will master trading that particular stock. It can be done. So like I said, here's another thing that definitely needs to be touched on when it comes to trading, and when it comes to option trading or any kind of trading in particular. Most platforms these days that you can trade on have a practice section of their platform where
Please talk about that.
we call it paper trading, and you can
That
trade.
you made me stay there forever, and I'm still in there.
You have to, because you can practice your trades, practice what you've learned, and sharpen your skill set, just like everything else, like anything else that's worthwhile. I mean, you don't go from a kid in the park to the NBA just like that. There are practice levels in between,
Right.
and as your skill set grows and you become more elite at what you're doing, then you have a shot at going to the major leagues. It's just like anything else. You practice and then you play. You know what I mean?
So are these some of the tools you're speaking of? Because I don't think people realize the tools that are out there.
Yeah,
So what's the value of paper trading, or what they call it other words too? But let's say paper trade. What's the value behind that?
the value. So paper trading is just basically practice trading. It is where you can create an account, where you can trade live while the market is going, but you're not using your actual cash funds. You can use a set amount of cash, of fake money that they will, that you can customize to whatever settings you want to, however much you want to trade, and you can practice taking real trades with money that is not real. So you're not risking anything, but you still have an opportunity to learn the craft and to sharpen your skill set. I think it can be a powerful tool if you combine that with real learning. If you invest your time in actually learning how to trade, learning all kinds of different trading, from option trading to whether you want to trade currency with Forex, if you want to trade futures, all of these things are available. You can learn to trade these things without investing your actual cash. So the learning tools are out there. You just, like I said, it starts with a mindset. If you develop the mindset that you want to learn this, you can do it. You can do it just like every trader that's out there started at the same place that you're starting at, from not knowing to learning and becoming great at what they do. So it's out there for you.
So, and thank you for that. And I'm kind of slow walking the audience just for a moment here on purpose. So what about YouTube videos? What about different books? Do you think those are great suggestions, or do you think there should be a membership? Like, where a person who's like, okay, I'm now interested because I've listened to Ells on Politics and Prose. I'm now interested. What's the first thing they should do? Can you give me the first 5 steps that you would suggest someone should do?
Well, I would say, if you're interested in trading, YouTube is a great resource. It's just like anything else. You will begin to weed out information that's not helpful to you. But I definitely think look up YouTube is pretty much video Google. You know what I mean these days.
That's
Look
true.
up things like stock option trading for beginners, forex trading for beginners, futures trading for beginners. Look up, look these things up, and it's just like anything else. You will find, Google these things, read up on them, and you will find the information is there. Tons of it, tons and tons and tons of information is out there. So it is definitely a great resource. YouTube, Google, just start Googling things. And like I said, start. That is the most important thing. If you can start with just something as simple as a Google search or a YouTube search, and one thing will lead you to another. And as soon it's just a matter of starting.
Now, should a person right away open up an account, or should they wait? Should they go to like yahoofinance.com? Should they go to cnbc.com? I'm new. Let's role play this for a moment. I'm new. I heard you. I'm interested. I have $500. What do I do?
Well, the first thing you do is start getting information. The first thing you do is start Googling, start YouTubing, and get information. Look at the scope of what you're now trying to get into.
Okay.
Seek out the information first. Don't do anything
Gotcha.
in terms of looking to open accounts and create. You'll get to that point. If your interest peaks enough, you will get to that point. And then, once you've got some information and you're interested in moving forward, yes, you open up an account. You start an account. You don't have to put any money in the account right away because, like I said, there is paper trading where you can just go into a practice account and learn the craft and start learning and seeking out information, start seeking out individuals who want to share information, who want to teach. There are so many different people out there who take pleasure in sharing information and wanting to teach, people who are at a very introductory level, the craft of learning how to trade, and seek out that information. And that's what I did. I mean, that's how I started. I started from not knowing anything to getting a great amount of information that I have in my mind about trading now, and it never stops. This is not something that one day you just master it, you know everything, and now
That's true.
the learning continues. There are so many different methods of trading, so many different strategies, so many different indicators, so many different things. There's what works for you may not work for the next person. So
and let's be honest about that, because we are being honest. But I remember working with you when we first started working together, and I was like, oh, I can't have all these indicators because I just could not do them. And so you helped me walk through which ones I needed and which ones I could get rid of. So I think you have to be open to that. The other thing is, and you kind of like slipped over this, and I'm not going to let you, so I'm coming right back to it. You're telling people to go find somebody who can teach them when all they got to do is come to Ells Williams and be taught. So let's not do that. Let's not do that. I will promote you. Okay.
I have been outlining a curriculum of something that is very introductory level for people who are very new to options trading and wanting to know more about it and get into options trading. So I'm currently outlining a curriculum that is just going to be very basic, very introductory level for people who I don't know anything, and I want to learn about this, and I want to get into this, and because on my Instagram page, from time to time, I will post some of my trades.
You do,
and every day I have people that I know that DM me, and they're asking me, how do you do this? How did you get into this? Where did you learn how to do this? Where did you? And they're very curious people, and that's kind of what I mean by show you better than I can tell you. You can, when people see the trades and what can happen in a trade that goes your way, they're very interested. But one thing I do with everyone that asks me is I slow them down and I stop them at the learn. Learn is the first thing you can do.
Learn. I love that.
because the possibilities are limitless, but you have to learn the craft. You
I
have to.
love that. And you are so patient. I tell my husband, I'm like, I'm sure I'm getting on his nerves. But you're so patient. You have made me a better trader. Like
uh,
seriously.
what happens is I want to slow everyone down that asks me about trading, to the learning aspect, because again, when people see gains, when they see a trade go from zero to $500 profit, $1,000 profit in 1 or 2 minutes, they're very intrigued by that. But I
Yeah.
slow them down to the learning, because I can tell you the stories about money I lost first. You know what I mean? I didn't start off making money, and I didn't start off just being able to spot those trades, right away. It took learning. The learning curve is there. It took learning. It took losses. It took frustration. It took a lot of things to get to that point. So and that's because I began without learning. Um,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I noticed in a lot of trading advertisements, if you will. The premise of a lot of them boils down to just follow what I do, take my trades, and make money. I've done all the work. I've done all the
Yeah.
learning. I've done all the leg. I've gone through the trials and tribulations, and now I'm a successful trader. So just follow what I do, and then you can be successful too. No, you can't.
I
It does.
agree with that.
It
You know,
abs-
I shared with you several times. I'm like, I don't want to take somebody else's call, and I don't want to give a call because I want to learn it for myself and know it for myself. And so many people just ride the coattails of other people who are
and
calling these trades. It's like, but do you know how you got there?
yeah, and I think the majority of the people who ride those coattails are unsuccessful. I I,
I
I, I,
agree.
I would bet on it, because, and I'll say this: it takes a certain level of learning and a certain skill set to even be able to follow someone. I
Yeah.
that I sit with every day while I'm trading, and they'll say to me, "Okay, so what I'll do is I'll bring my laptop and I'll sit alongside you and I'll just do whatever you do." And I say to them, "You would like to think it's that simple, but it's really not. It's not that simple. Um, it takes a skill set and an understanding to even be able to follow someone. Someone
Yeah.
that is novice to trading and brand new at this is not going to be able to sit along a consistently successful trader and just follow them just like that, and get the gains that they get. It does not work like that.
It doesn't work like that. And you also cannot have the mindset of a gambler. You really have to consider yourself a professional investor, a professional trader.
Mhm.
And using that language, I know you and I talked about that a lot as well. I want to transition a little bit now. We're already 43 minutes in, and we're not going to get everything. So you're just going to have to come back another segment so we can keep
Love to.
going. But just to shift gears just a little bit, why do you think it's important to introduce investing concepts, including option trading, to young children, especially in underrepresented communities?
I can't stress this enough, because it is, yeah, I mean, they say all the time the children are the future. We have to start with them in order to generationally be able to change the mindset of our people. We have
Yeah.
to start with them. We have to start, and it's so crazy to me because I have friends that tell me about their teenage kids that are already into trading, and they're amazed. One of my friends is out in Atlanta, and his son, he told me about his son, and he said, "Listen, I had to stop this kid because," he said, I was wondering, why are you selling drugs? What are you doing? Where are you getting all this money from?" He said, "My son has 2 cars. He has, he's doing so many things." And he said, he showed me. He said, "Dad, I'm learning how to trade. I learned how to trade." He said, and he actually trades forex, and he said he's great at it. And he's not even, he's 21 years old, and he's, just amazing, his father at what's possible. So I mean, I think it's very important to start off young, so that we can change
Yeah.
the mindset of our people as a whole where it comes to investing and financial literacy. We have to start young. It is imperative that we don't allow the generational curses to continue. We have to instill in the minds of the young people that getting into financial literacy and learning how that it's a becoming successful is a process, and
Yeah.
you have to start early on if you want to cut out a lot of the hard work that goes into hitting your head against the wall from
Yeah.
not starting early. The earlier you start something, the easier it should get later on. Should. but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because
but
even as I'm thinking about our topic, trading while black, it's been a very interesting journey for me. Because I get a lot of people say, "Isn't that gambling?" No, it's not gambling. Isn't that illegal? No, it's not illegal. And then the other thing, if we can be honest here, because I do want to touch on this before we get out of here, is that I'm beginning to think that the rules are changing for black and brown people when it comes to some of these platforms. I'm hearing more and more people saying that they have all these kind of questions. They have to prove they have X amount of money in the bank. And I just wonder if the standards are changing now that so many of us are showing some sort of interest. Do you have any insight to that?
I have heard that. I mean, I've heard that the some of the qualifying questions to get some of these trading accounts have become much more in depth, if you will.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think it'll get to the point, if I can speculate, that it will be able to be but so discriminatory and try to phase us out of it. Um, I don't think there's a way that they've devised yet to be able to do that. Um,
Okay.
however, however, I will say that I definitely have heard that that these platforms are definitely starting to be more intrusive with some of the questions that they ask. Um,
So how do we get around that? How do we get around that? Because come on, let's be honest. We already have these questions. We're already a little intimidated by it. So if
mhm.
we get pushed back, we're out. How do we get people to stay the course and navigate through some of the hurdles?
Focus on the goal. Focus on where focus focus on what the goal is. The goal is to get ahead. The goal is financial literacy. The goal is to move the chain. So again, start. Don't let these things deter you. Get in the game. If a teenager is out there and they can get these trading accounts and get on these platforms, you can do it too. Uh, don't let fear uh, be the device that stops you. Just remember, fear and God don't occupy the same space.
Well, that's true. I like that. All right, so many gems today. Again, I'm gonna have to have you back for real, like for real. Don't be running from me. Um, so before we wrap up, Els, if you had one piece of advice for someone listening who feels inspired but they're I'm unsure about this, where to start with investing or trading, what would it be? Like, what's? I know you're saying start, but what else? What piece of advice would you give to someone?
Start gathering information. Everything starts with information.
Where
Enhance.
do I get this information? I know you're gonna say Google, but again, there's people out there that will scam you. So how do they vet the information?
I tell you what. Go to the app store on your phone and search the app investing.com. Um,
Investing.com.
mhm, investing.com. It's a free app that you can put on your phone, and it will start feeding you information about the market. It will start feeding you information about the market, and as your knowledge is enhanced, your curiosity grows, and alongside of the information you're being fed there, start googling certain things. You see
Okay.
terms that you're not familiar with. Google that term. Understand what that term means. and keep furthering your knowledge. Further your knowledge. But investing.com, that is an app that is and it's also a website. But it's an app that will, start your information gathering there, where you will hear about these companies. It'll talk to you about the current events, all of the current events that are related to the stock market in every sector, pretty much. And there's a wealth of information there that will keep you current day to day with everything that's going on in the market. And you can begin your journey there into the world of trading and investing.
Okay. So you got 60 seconds to answer this question. What's one lesson you've learned through your own financial journey that you wish you had known earlier? 60 seconds, Elle. 60 seconds.
One lesson that I learned in my financial journey,
that you wish you would have known earlier.
That I wish I would have known earlier. I really wish I would have known about trading sooner, to be honest with you. I really, really wish I would have known.
Me too.
I mean, honestly, I really wish I would have known this and started my journey earlier. But one of the things that I definitely am glad I came across: read or deal with audio books. Anything that you want to learn, the information is out there, but you have to get serious about getting that information.
Yep.
Like I said, one skill away from exponentially changing your earning potential. So take whatever it is you're interested in and go develop that skill. Learn that skill. Learn how to do something, and challenge yourself to move the chain. I mean, one of the things you have to do is get serious about your goal. What is your goal? Define your goal and get serious about it.
I love that.
The easiest way is to, I'll say it again, start. And it doesn't matter how small you start, even with just a simple Google search. Start.
That's gonna have to be your company name. Start. Okay. It's gonna have to be. So okay, I gotta ask. This is Politics and Prose podcast. What book are you currently reading, and why that book?
I'm reading. Actually, this is the second time I've read this book. This book is called The Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. Just briefly, this book was a book that was written about 1925. This is the time period this man lived in. And he basically, his journey was to find out what makes successful people successful. So he literally was friends with some of the most successful people of that era. He literally went and lived with Rockefeller for a span of years. He lived with Andrew Carnegie for a span of years. He went and actually lived with some of the most successful people of the time. And he wanted to specifically study those folks who basically were people who made fortunes from nothing. He didn't want to deal with anyone who had inherited money he wanted only people who built their fortunes from nothing. He lived with Henry Ford, all these people of the time. So he lived with these people, and he realized that there were certain things that all of them did. There's certain attributes that they all possessed. And he literally found them so essential to their success that he said they're more than just rules. These are actual laws, things that constitute successful practices that will lead to success. And he's so certain about these things that he even states in his book that if you follow word for word what I'm telling you to do, that you have no choice but to be successful. And this book covers everything from even programming your mindset with a technique called the auto suggestion. There are so many different gems in that book that teach you everything from the law of the mastermind, where it is about creating a circle of people who will now help you further your goal. I want to touch on this very, very quickly.
You got to do this quickly.
One of the things that I heard that came across my ears recently is people of color love to dream about great wealth and success. And this person said, think about this. who are the group of people that you are having the conversation every day about attaining this success?
Wow.
And he said, if you're not even having the conversation, how do you expect to do it? No, we all have a mentality of, okay, I'm going to become successful. Nobody does it alone.
Yeah,
The
that's
successful people
good.
in the world, these that own and run these big companies, these are corporations comprised of tons of people. The mastermind is about that. It is about your circle of people that is going to collaborate with you. And out of that mastermind, it's called the mastermind because all of our individual minds, when aligned with the same goals and purpose, create what's called a mastermind, a greater mind
Wow.
that supersedes all of our minds. And that mind is what we use to propel ourselves onto that success. So that's where we have to now change our focus. But the law of success is for anyone who's looking on how to start becoming successful, how to change your habits, how to just reinvent yourself. It's an incredible read.
Wow, thank you. That was the piece about the conversation that was just absolutely powerful. So we're at towards the end. This goes so fast. And I love it because we're just really getting in. So you are going to have to come back. You can't say no. You'll have to come back. How can people reach you, and when do you believe you will launch your first class?
I'm looking at setting that up over the course of the next month or two. I want to begin that. Like I said, I begin to outline the curriculum, um, and these are things that I do every day. So it should be almost like this, like a conversation, very free flowing. I want to do. I'm probably going to wind up doing it like something like a Zoom style class where people can tap in and something that's probably going to be recorded, so you'll have an option to go back to it and reiterate things that we've gone over. Um,
Okay. Now it's gonna cost y'all. Don't think this is free. This is not free. I'm the only one that gets something free from Ells. No, I'm joking.
I want to try to make this affordable. It's going to be very affordable, but it
Affordable
will.
is good. I just still want to make sure you get paid. I think that's it. And that's gonna take us somewhere else, and I don't have time for it. But I am gonna say this. I think that's what happens to us as a people. We think everything's free. And like, if you got to invest in yourself. So even
Absolutely.
when we're talking about building wealth and breaking barriers, build wealth by investing in yourself. And that automatically breaks a barrier as well. I just really believe that. But I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no, to piggyback right off that point, I have no problem saying, one of the classes that I took to learn options trading and to learn, to further my knowledge of it, cost me $1,800. The class that I'm talking about implementing to teach a lot of what was learned in that class and just to open the door will cost nowhere near that.
Yeah.
I can say that right off the bat. I know it would cost nowhere near that. But
So how do they reach you? Can they like will I be able to in the description give your contact info like an email or something or are you not there yet?
you can just put my Instagram up there. My DMs are open.
Okay.
People can reach out. And
That's
on
I am
Instagram,
L's.
so I will begin to share information on my Instagram page about
Can I come to your class?
absolutely. I'm betting on the fact that you're going to be there. I absolutely hope and wish that you will be there. It is definitely going to be a very, very introductory level course with where we're going to touch on quite a few topics. And by the time that we leave that course, my goal is to have people at a very clear understanding of options trading, a very clear understanding of at least one or two strategies of how to get in and out of trades, how to take trades on your own. But it should give you a foundation to then further your knowledge with an intermediate level group, if you will. A lot of trading groups are out there, so this will give you the foundation that you need to be able to get in those groups and be able to hold your own and be able to follow and be able to learn how to trade even at a more in-depth level. But this will give you the foundation. I think a lot of what's out there skips the foundation, and
Yeah,
it puts you. They almost start you at a level that you're not prepared for. And
I
with
agree. I
I
mean, I think you got to know, and Gina, I know I'm over the time, but I think you got to know about the candlesticks, the points that are in the candlesticks, the support and the resistance, the double tops, just all types of things that
yeah,
this language is coming. Like, what is all of this? And I think we need to slow down. So I'm so glad you're doing that.
yeah, I want
Well,
to put you up with the basics, and uh, and
yep.
and, and we're going to build on it. We're not you're not going to leave at such a basic level that you can't do this. You're going to leave at a level that my goal is to get you to a level where you can take some trades on your own, and but it will also put you at a level where you can further your knowledge and become a much more intermediate level trader and begin to really expand your portfolio and grow.
Yep, I love that. And all of you who know me by now know I can have somebody on my show and I can have them share and I can support them that way. But y'all know I'm very funny about who I highly promote. And I actually highly promote Els and the work that he's doing. Why? Because he's my mentor. But no, seriously, y'all, the moment that's out there, I'm going to put it out there in my newsletter, everything, you should sign up. Now he says it's not going to be $1,800, and I'm sure of that.
Nowhere
But
near.
don't think it's going to be $100 either. It's going to be more than that. So just want you to know. So Elle, thank you so much for dropping knowledge that can truly shift mindsets and futures. To all of our listeners, remember, wealth isn't just about money; it's about knowledge, access, and action. Any final words before I get us out of here?
Yes, the goal of trading is not to make money. The goal of trading is, well, money is the byproduct, but the goal is consistency. You want
Consistency.
consistency is what you should be looking for.
I like that. Say that again. The goal of trading is not
Is to develop consistency.
okay.
Yeah, obviously, everyone wants to make money. We all understand that. We know that it's about money. If at the end of the day, but you can't get to the money if you don't develop the habits that build consistency.
I
So
love that.
look at your trading journey as a journey to build trading consistency and consistency of habits. That once you do that, the money will come.
I love that. I love that. All right, you all. If you enjoyed today's episode, share it with your network. Subscribe to Politics and Prose, and don't forget to leave a review. Let's keep the conversation going, not just here, but in our communities. Until next time, stay audacious, stay informed, and keep pushing for progress. And y'all, as he said, start and let's be consistent. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining me. We are out.